The first line is that we will talk about the competency-based evaluation system, and then I will give you some update, what Stefan already mentioned briefly, and Stefan will be very attentive and will tell me anytime I share an information with you, mentioning this is in the pipeline, this is not yet decided yet. We are in the process of updating the education system. Nevertheless, I will choose to show you an outlook what will happen in the upcoming years. The education system, going back to the competency-based evaluation system, as I mentioned yesterday, yes, it would be good to have the presentation.
Do you want to copy it onto my laptop? Run it on my laptop?
I can.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Good. I think we wait for a couple of seconds then, because visual aid is always important. Try. Go into the PowerPoint and do the presentation mode. Wait.
What is it doing?
Yeah. Perfect. Congratulations to our technicians. And I think we couldn't continue to this slide. That shows you the process we went through with the competency-based evaluation system in the year 2019 to develop it. In the beginning, it was an idea. We've presented the idea to the board of the FEI in April in its spring meeting after the sport forum. There the principles were accepted by the FEI board. After that, my department discussed with all relevant FEI department, and that are all sport department, all 8, plus the veterinarians, they are also in this process. We have then finalized the framework that was presented to the FEI board in its spring meeting in June. There we got the approval to go ahead from the FEI board. And during the summertime, we implemented the necessary steps in our IT system. We have asked experts to draft questions. One of the experts is sitting on the panel. Stefan was involved in this. Then we put those questions into the FEI campus. The CES you have been testing with your mock exam, or some of them you have already done the test. But before we went online, in October, we had a peer group testing the assessment, trying to get feedback on the procedure and on the actual questions. With this feedback, we implemented, plus the changes of that were happened in Moscow, we went online on the 16th of December and are now in the first phase, in the first year of the competency-based evaluation system. All this was based on a recommendation of the FEI working group. And The FEI working group for officials has not only, this is only a first step. You have to understand the CES as we see it now is only a first step, because we have identified 4 competencies that have to be assessed. The first competency, one of the basic ones, is the knowledge about rules and regulations. I've been confronted with the argument that, well, these are rule technicians when you do this test. My worst nightmare, and I agree, probably Michael is also in agreement with me, is an official that doesn't base his or her decision on rules. So the rules will not make you a good official, because that is a lot more than knowing the rules, but to be an official, the knowledge of the rules is a base. That's why we started in the first step to assess the rule and regulation knowledge. For the ones in the room, for the terminology, we talk about FEI jumping rules, and we talk about regulations like general regulations or veterinarian regulation when they apply to more disciplines. That just as a background. The next competency are the soft skills. Teamwork. How do you react in crisis management, like crisis? How do you work under stress? This we will be testing in a later phase, and most likely not each level will be tested with this. But these tests we still have to develop. We are happy that having introduced the CES already was a major effort, and at first we have to make this competency-based CES system running. The next and also important skill is the English proficiency. We had situations where we had major decision-making people not being able to communicate in English with others. And that led to consequences like cancelling an endurance ride at World Equestrian Games. Having that in the back of our mind, and that since about at least 15 years, I was not able to get the information in the FEI when we changed only to publish the rules in English, that all our rules are published in English. We think that a top-level official has to be on a certain proficiency level. We take the framework of languages from the European community as a background that puts the language proficiency in 3 levels, A, B, and C, and each level, like A1 and A2, is still in subcategories. The first level, A, is the one, I am Frank. My name is Frank, on that level. So you have some words, you can say hello, you can order a beer, but that's it. Yes. The second level, the B level, and that is more or less the level where we expect our officials in the end to be at, is that you can talk and communicate about a specific subject. In our case, equestrian subject. So the B level is the one where you are able to communicate with people about a specific subject, about jumping rules, for example. The C level is considered as native speakers. I know a lot of people here in the room that will have, when they take the test, get a result, a C level, being equivalent to a native speaker. We have chosen in the first step 2 measurements. First of all, because this is for our sport important, we want to have an idea how our top level officials in jumping top level officials means level 4 jumping judges, level 4 course designers, and level 3 stewards, how their proficiency is. These persons were sent in beginning of January an email with an online test. Since the FEI community of officials is not that large, we are not able to develop a test on its own. So we have to use a commercial test, and we use a company we work together with. It's an American company, it's Rosetta Stone. We use this company, and they have a specific test to evaluate the proficiency. The same test you would do if you go to Rosetta Stone and take a language course. They will ask you to do this test to know in which level, like which course is suitable for you. And the difference between the proficiency test and the CES is, CES, we want to educate you, and we allow you to do mock exams and that you learn. In the English proficiency, it's an evaluation of your ability. You do not have to train for it, you have to basically do it. I've done the test myself, and I can assure you it stressed me. I had to go, and I had got the same feedback from Stefan. Nevertheless, I got a C result in it, but the tricky thing with this test, it adjusts to the level. So the better you are, the more it demands from you. It becomes more and more stressful over the time. So also native speakers have their experience in the test. And again, the same applies for the English proficiency. It's an online test, and please make sure that your online connection is stable. Otherwise, it also is timed. Yes?
You said it's an American company. Is it American English?
Wait.
The question is it American English?
Yes, it is. And this is, I even get feedback from the British that they don't like it. And maybe
it's quite understandable, really.
Yes. If you go to Tokyo and are confronted, I was in Hong Kong at the Olympic Games when we had the Beijing Olympic Games in Hong Kong. The English I was confronted there was very unfamiliar for me and very hard to understand. And I'm quite sure they were really good in English. But for me, it was difficult to understand. If I go to India or any other country, or even Australia, English can have so much different pronunciations or dialects. Again, the test, it's a listening comprehension. If you're being asked in the question, and it didn't make much, it doesn't affect the result of the test that much. That's at least what we got as a feedback. The result of the people that have been tested always reflected their knowledge, what they had as self-reflection. Again, if we would take a British company, all Americans would complain. Yep. The last competency that was always stressed is the physical ability. And you will have seen in the mock exam that we ask you two things before you enter the mock exam, because we think they are important. The first thing, we ask you to certify that you are doing it yourself. The second thing is, all of you are aware of the wording fit to compete. We have introduced another wording, fit to officiate. We know that the demands of different tasks are, like as an official, you have different demands. Why shouldn't a wheelchair person not being able to judge a dressage test. It's a concentration. This person doesn't have to run 100 meters in a certain time. The same person might be not able to walk a cross-country course. So it depends very much on the job you are doing. This is why we want you to evaluate yourself if you are self of the opinion that you're still fit to officiate. This is the background of the CES, and as I said, we work in phases. The first phase, even jumping, the discipline jumping went ahead and jumped phase 1, because all other disciplines have only one assessment for all officials. If you are a dressage official, regardless judge or steward, you have one assessment in the discipline dressage. In jumping, it was agreed with the course directors that we have 3 different tests already, one for judges that we will be doing in some couple of minutes, one for stewards and one for course designers. That's the next step. The other disciplines will follow up maybe next year, most likely next year or the year after. In jumping, most likely we will continue using these tests as we have been using it for 2020, also in 21. All this will be evaluated by the end of March, beginning of April. We collect all feedback and we will decide how we continue in 21. The third step will be then to have tests per level. So we can really challenge also the level 4s and not have, and now we know that level 1 to level 4 has to do the same test. So it's, as Stefan pointed out yesterday, quite easy for a level 4 and very challenging for a level 1 to do the CES. That might change also in the future. For clarification, the impact of the CES was that we will have now maintenance courses only with assessment. I think this is very clear in this room. And then every other year or every second other year, online assessments. I use on purpose the word maintenance, and we will continue using maintenance now instead of refresher. Again, to align all disciplines, because both words were used differently, and it's tomato or tomato, a little bit like this, and we try to harmonize also the wording through the disciplines. That leads me to the transfer up. Transfer up, in brackets, promotion courses. With the new system, education system, I will present you in a couple of minutes. You will see it is also, and also with the CES, there's also a transfer down possible. Since we don't have an age limit anymore and people drop out because of age, there might be even somebody who says, I don't want to take the responsibility of being a president of ground jury. I am happy to be just a member, so please don't list me as a level 3 judge. I want to be only a level 2 judge. So in the past, we only had the possibility either you are a level 3 or you are not anymore. So now with a new system, we introduce also the possibility of a transfer down. to, and we have Michael sitting here. Michael, when he uses this, he will use a different word. He will use the word demotion. If we have a sanction, like a sanction or a legal case, and the tribunal decides that this official is not fit to officiate as a sanction, then we will use in future the word demotion. But for the normal process, it's transfer up and transfer down. And again, all of those, one of the principles that if you go up a level, there will be always an assessment. Leads me to the last two words, and we will certainly and emphasize the need of having seminars and forums. These are decision-making meetings where you can test ideas, where you can discuss ideas. And for example, the FEI runs the sport forum every year with subjects where everybody is invited. But it's a bigger group of people. This we will use as a seminar and forum type. We have also, and this, you are sitting here in a room with an exception because we have allowed 2 stakeholder groups to have an exception when they hold their General Assembly, the jumping and the dressage stakeholder officials club. All other courses, we limit the participation. For a transfer up promotion course, we limit it to 16 people maximum. And for maintenance courses, we limit it to 20 people maximum. And here, you have to understand that we really take, for especially the maintenance courses, we take the officials that need it first, like Group B officials, they need to go there. And then if there are still places left, we fill them up with Group A officials, working together naturally with the national federations. To clarify again a little bit the timelines, this is just a copy of our internet site where, for example, if you are refreshed here today, 2020, you will have 21 and 22, you will be online, and the next time you have to do an in-person maintenance course will be 23. Having said that, if you go next year to the General Assembly of the International Official Club again and do it next year the same as this year, your cycle will just start again. So we will not hinder you to take the assessment here, but we will not force you. And we had to implement this. These are old rules. In all our education systems, we had a refresher every 3 years. Sadly enough, we have a lot of officials who've never been to a refresher in their whole life. And again, I preach to the ones that are not in the room, maybe watching us on television. I'll skip this here because I think this is clear for everybody, Group A and Group B. If you have questions to that, please come to me in the coffee break, and I'm sure you come because I've experienced that yesterday already. I have a question. That leads me now to an outlook, and now I need Stefan to be very attentive. Not that I say something
Frank,
wrong.
sorry.
No.
Sorry.
It's this is until now I was the new education system. What is here has been presented to the jumping committee to its in-person meeting in Barcelona last year and was approved. We will step by step. The aim is to introduce this in 21. I will just lead you through the new things in here. A principle will be that before coming becoming an FEI official, you have to do an online foundation course. The content, I'll have a slide on that later. The next principle is that we have, through all categories of officials, 4 levels. For jumping, it means that we introduce a 4th level for the stewards. The next principle is level 1 and level 2 are members, and level 3 and level 4 can be chief steward, president of ground jury, course designers up to the top level. Same with the officials, official veterinarians. By the way, you see this is already approved also by the vet committee. Also, the veterinarians will be next year in 4 levels. They will introduce the level system as well. So the FEI really talks about the same thing. The top level, pointed out, level 4 is for major events, major championships like World Cup finals or Nation Cups, top league finals. So, and as Stefan has said, we will confirm level 4 in future. Then I want to come to those orange buttons. We have countries that have an education system for officials. America, Germany, France, just to name 3 of those countries. We have in the past used a system we called equivalencies. Countries with an equivalency, they have the possibility to jump 1 level. We will not ask them to do the level 1. They can go straight into a level 2 course with the foundation course. Having said that, we have the situation in the upcoming year with the introduction that national officials are not able to officiate in a lot of events. We will use this equivalency list of nations to give those countries the opportunity to do the level 1 course online. So at the moment we have a level 1 course also only in person, and we have listed a lot of level 1 officials already on the list. Since we have been, countries have been able to use national officials, especially in Europe, it is not a lot of countries have level 1 officials. The level 1 officials are more in the Middle East, in Africa, or in Asia. So we know about the issue, but on the other hand side, we have in Europe a lot of countries that have an approved national system, high educated national officials, and as Stefan has pointed out, those top national officials we welcome to do the online level 1, so it means for them not extra cost and traveling. In future, for all FEI officials, and that applies for everybody, and in each level we have then specific, we become more specific. For example, for a level 4 judge, we want the level 4 judge in the English proficiency to have a B2, C1 level minimum. A level 1 judge, we decided, has to have an A2, very basic, to B1, that's optimum level. So we differentiate now the language proficiency per level. Naturally, we ask people with a equestrian background to become officials, but we do not go more into specific on that. 18 years, you have to be a minimum of 18 years, that it was confirmed by the legal department. That is the majority when people are responsible for their own decision. Worldwide, some countries have 21. Like in some countries, you can already vote with 16, but 18 has been agreed as a common age. And then endorsed by the National Federation. That is a common step. I hope I'm not too long. Right.
You're okay, Frank.
Okay, good.
2 minutes.
That's fine. 3 more slides. That applies for all officials. As I promised you before, I show you the content of the foundation course that will be soon published on FEI Campus. The foundation course that we want every FEI official, and we will have 1 per discipline, to know. We want to FEI, we want the official to know what the FEI is about. Not the ivory tower, we want really to go more into detail, that they know how the FEI functions. Then we want to give them the history of their sport. So a little bit of history doesn't harm, that where our origin is. Standards are important. Horse welfare, horsemanship, what is a jumping horse, what is a jumping athlete, all this is important for every official. And now, since it is a foundation course for an official, we want to make in the beginning clear in which environment the official works. So we have introduce the different officials, what is basically their task at an FEI event. And certainly some basic things of the FEI rules. And you see, this is like a red line through it with an assessment in the end. So it's an evaluation, what you have learned. That's the content of the foundation course. I'll just jump into the jumping judge course. We already have a jumping judge course online, but it was not included in the education system. It was for self-study. Now this course will be updated, and countries with equivalency will be able to enroll people as certified students, which means they can do the assessment in the end and become after that a level 1 judge. I can share these. You can copy this, but this is not. But again, this is an outlook for 21. All what I've started introducing here with the education system is an outlook for 21, and we still have to discuss it with the FEI Jumping Committee and has to be approved. Some certain things have to be implemented in rules, so we need the General Assembly. All this is a process we have to follow up, but the outline, just for you as an information, I wanted to share with you. Last but not least is Stefan touched the level 4 course. The course requirements I put under review. I will share them a little bit later on. As I pointed out, we will define the level or role at an FEI event, but the level 4 is for major events. That's what I can already say. Maintenance, again, the whole maintenance system, like CES is one part, but next to it, you have to officiate a certain number of events per 3 years. This is under review and will also be updated for 21. And now to the real content. The level 4 course has 3 phases. And you have to pass the first phase to go to the second phase. We have seen that is an important thing, especially for judges that have not been level 4 and come new in the system. That is where they are evaluated with case studies if they have the capacity to become a level 4. We also take the opportunity to also confirm all level 4s, because what we do afterwards, and we had our course directors already doing this pilot level 4 course in October, is more or less a treat of the FEI. We treat and we want to treat all top level officials, level 4 officials, to a leadership presence training to give them a better possibility to communicate with each other and also with athletes. We will do that in Lausanne. That also, because we also at that time have the possibility to invite other directors like Michael or Jöran, so we can specifically train on that subject, and that will be in the third phase, where we have a 3-day intensive meeting in Lausanne with a leadership presence training. And I can reassure you, it is intense. It took me about 2 weeks to recover because I was part of the first pilot course. We will, and this is an outlook, for 21. In other disciplines, it's cross-discipline, this pilot, like cross-function. So we will most likely include also in jumping not only judges in this leadership training program. We will already here start with the teamwork. We will include course designers and stewards on that level. And we will run in 2020 pilot courses for both, so we can then go start in 21 with a group of people that have been gone through this leadership training. And having done it, I know the positive effects. It really allows to communicate on a much better level and with less stress and better effects. That is my presentation, and I'm now open for questions. Thank you, Stefan, for warming up the audience.
Actually, Frank, you've woken them up. And thank you very much. Are there any questions? And I think a huge round of applause to Frank, because there is all joking apart, an enormous amount of work has gone into this for all the 8 disciplines under the FEI. So he has the biggest job of the lot. So well done, Frank. You really do. So, okay. No questions for Frank? It's coffee break time, and then in here at 11:45 for those that need to do the assessment and receive the certification. 11:45 in here, and down in the lobby it'll be meet and greet. Stefan?
One sentence on housekeeping. As we would like to use the whole space here, I would kindly ask the people who do not take part in the assessment for this session to take their belongings out of this room, that we can see that we can fill the whole room and that we can use all the rows. So if you are not taking part in the assessment, please take your bags with you, that we see where there is an empty seat, that we can use the whole room. That would be very nice.
Hang on.
And the ones who do the assessment, please be back no later than, what was it?
11:45.
11:45. That you can select a nice seat and that you can test the electricity and the internet and all these things. Thank you.
Stefan, Willem, Leuten.
Yes, before you leave, I have one question and one kind request. If you are not taking part in the exam, log out on the IGOC account on the Wi-Fi. Because we have Wi-Fi here, that's good, but we don't want have any trouble. So people going to the meet and greet, please log out, and after the test you can log in again on the Wi-Fi.
Thank you very much, and good luck to everybody. It's
Yes.
coffee time now.
Okay, no, we'll do that later. That they have only